Good afternoon, friends. Today, myself, Dr. Kushal Bhattacharya. Today, I should be discussing the requirement for transmission system or gearbox in automobile engineering or in automobile vehicle. Why it is required. So, we should be describing this through this lecture, and subsequently we should discuss one or two types of gears which is used in gearbox, or different types of gearboxes. One or two gearboxes I should be discussing in this lecture. So first let us start what is the requirement of the gear. Now we see that whatever that is the torque provided, that the torque provided by the engine and the speed of the engine. If I take the two factors, the torque provided by the engine and the speed of the engine, so when there is no if we are doing only a test, we could see that only the test of the engine, the torque provided by the engine and the speed of the engine are more or less same, but a little amount of differences is there. But this difference in practically, this is not practically when it is used for automobile. That means when it is when it is used to drive an automobile, the torque requirement for the automobile varies for different condition, and depending on that, the torque and n varies a lot. So for this reason, the gearbox is required to give the torque ratio between the engine and the road wheels, so that it supply the torque it supply the rock as and torque or the tractive force as and when required, depending upon the demand. So what happens when it is when the engine is connected to drive an automobile, so the torque or the tractive force required at the wheel at various condition totally differs from what when there is no load on the engine. This is the one purpose this is the first purpose of the gearbox, that is to supply torque according to the requirement of the road wheels, okay. That is the supply the torque from the engine to the road wheels according to the requirement. Number two is that in some condition what happens, the clutch is engaged, but the car is not moving, so that is what happens. This is another criteria, is another requirement which is made by the gearbox. That means power is coming from the engine to the clutch, and it concises and it limits itself in the gearbox only. It is not flowing out from the gearbox. So that is another essential requirement of the gearbox, which it provides. That is in engaged condition, the car is not moving but the engine is running. So this is one other requirement of the gearbox which the gearbox provides. And the third is that it provides a reversal condition. It allows the car to reverse. That is to move in the reverse direction. So these are the essential requirements which are provided by the gearbox. Now we should see, as I've told, that why the torque requirement for the car varies. Varies a lot. So if we see that, first we should study what are the resistances acting on a car. What are the resistances acting on the car? So if you see that, first of all, what are the resistance? So if you see that if a car is there, if a car moves, so first of all, the wind resistance acts on the car. And as the speed of the vehicle increases, the wind resistance acts more and more. So it is directly proportional to the speed of the car. So now if we plot a curve where N represents the speed of the car and R represents the resistance offered by the different functions or different factors. The first one we considered as the wind resistance. So it looks like that. It looks like this. So it takes the shape. And as the speed increases, you could see the resistance offered by the wind resistance. I am writing that WR, wind resistance. It behaves like this. Now another type of resistance is there, which is basically known as the resistance offered by the which is basically constant. Gradient, resistance offered by the gradient. Now what happened, the resistance offered by the gradient, which is basically constant, and it is which is basically constant, and depending upon depending upon the condition of the road, it varies, but it is normally constant. Now you could see that the resistance, the gradient resistance, is basically the weight of the weight of the car and the component parallel to the road surface. Weight of the car and the weight of the car and its components parallel to the road surface, that is called the gradient resistance. There is another type of resistance which is known as miscellaneous resistance among this, which is also constant. This is called miscellaneous resistance, which is also constant, but it is mainly consists of the resistance offered by the reaction between the road surface and the tire, where mainly the miscellaneous resistance consists of the reaction force between the road surface and the tire, the reaction force which is getting from the road surface and the tire, because depending upon the condition the reaction force varies. So if a good quality of car is there, the reaction force changes. So depending upon this condition, the miscellaneous resistance also changes, but it is constant with the speed of the car. Now if we add all this, that is resistance offered by the gradient, resistance offered by the miscellaneous resistance, and resistance offered by the wind resistance, if we add all this, so we will get a total resistance curve. We will get a total resistance curve. We will get a curve which is known as the total resistance curve, which is basically the summation of three resistance, and as because the leading character is the wind resistance, so it takes the shape of the wind resistance curve and it moves like this. Now you see that if we plot, now in another plot, what we basically do is that now we plot for different gradients, of the road, now we plot the speed of the car for different gradients of the road. That is the reaction force, the total reaction force for different gradients of the road. Now as because the wind resistance more or less remains constant, the miscellaneous resistance more or less also remains constant, but what happened due to the different gradient, because the different gradients of the road, what happened, the total resistance changes, but its nature is always remaining the same. So what happened, you could see for different gradients you could get a different curve like this. Because the wind resistance, as I told, remains same, the miscellaneous resistance mainly remains same, but basically the gradient, due to the change in gradient resistance, the different curves are different. We will get different curves for road gradient 1, for road gradient 2, for road gradient 3, and for road gradient 4. So this is the plot for the total resistance curve for different gradient of the road. Now we should plot another curve. Which is basically deal with the tractive force produced by different gears. Now if you see that the tractive force produced by different gears at different, and if we plot the speed of the car in the x-axis and the tractive force in the y-axis, we see the top gear will give this one, the second gear will give this one, and the third gear, or the first gear, gear number 1, the lower gear will give this, the highest torque will give the highest torque. Then the second gear will give the torque which is the tractive force or torque which is lower than the first gear, and the top gear will give a less amount of tractive force or torque. Now this is basically the diagram of tractive force versus speed. So the tractive force versus speed varies in this manner for different gears. Now if we plug these two types of curves, that is the resistance curve along with the tractive force curve, we will study a beautiful nature of the curve. So we will see that what is basically the nature of the curve. Now if we plot like this, here on the x-axis it represents as usual the speed of the car, and on the y-axis it represents both the tractive force or the torque and the tractive force and the, if you write, and the tractive force and the resistance offered. So we plot this curve, we plot this curve, and we will get the curve like this for different gradients. Gradient for the different road condition, that is for different the road condition which offer most maximum amount of resistance, we will go for the second curve. That is the third curve basically, and this is the second curve, and this is the first curve. So if you see that, if you study that, for different gradients of the road, the reaction force changes, we will see that. And over here what we will do, we will mixed up, or which will fetch the tractive force versus speed curve over here, and we will see that an interesting area of study we could observe is that this is for top gear, this is for second gear we will get gear, and this is for top gear. So these are the three tractive force we have studied. So this is the first gear number 1, that is the lower gear. Then we go for the second gear, and we go for a third gear. We are taking a gearbox where there is 3 speed gears are there and 1 reverse gear is there. So for this reason we are getting the lower gear, the second gear, the third gear. And as we know, as the lower gear produces more tractive force, so we could see that we have studied, we have just analyzed this. So for this reason we have just plugged. Now here an important observation is that whenever a car, what happens, whenever a car overcomes all the resistive force, whenever a car overcomes all the resistive force, the car moves. Whenever a car overcomes all the resistive force, what happens? The car moves forward. The car moves forward with an acceleration. So whenever a car overcomes all the resistance, as I've stated before, so it overcomes this car, it overcomes all the resistance, then what happened? It takes an acceleration and moves forward. For example, if you see that in the top gear, this is third gear in the top gear, and this is this is the total resistance offered by the road gradient 1. So here the curve cut at this point. So this point is point A, and here is OA. So we see that if the car just overcomes the speed OA, that is a marginal speed OA, what happens? It accelerates. If the car overcomes the speed OA, what happens? It accelerates. Now if the speed of the car falls to B, that is OB, due to acceleration of the car, what happens? It will come slowly to this position, back to this position A, because here the tractive force is high, and because the acceleration required to overcome this to overcome the tractive force is 1. So if the car reaches this position B, what happens? The acceleration required to reach this will easily given over here, so that the car can easily come over this position. But if the car moves to this, now what happens? If the car increases its speed further and reaches a speed over here, suppose if I take it like this, OA, OL, what happens? If the car reaches the speed OL, what happens? The resistance force will retard the car, and it will reach it in this position. The resistance force will retard the car, and it will make it come in this position. Now we could see that the same thing for a more stiffer resistance curve. That is, when the gradient is more stiffer, we could see that the minimal speed required comes over here. The minimum speed required comes over here. The minimum speed required to overcome the tractive force, to overcome the resistive force produced in the gradient 2 type, what happens is lower. That means from here we could say that OK is much lower than OB. It's much lower than OA. OK is much lower. That is, this one is K. So OK is much lower than OA. OK is much lower than OA. So the minimal speed required over here to overcome the total resistance force for the gradient 2, types of road. So we will get this. Okay, now we see that for gradient 3 type of road, that means when there is a more stiffer curve, when the gradient is more, that means what happens in that condition, that we cannot attain this with the help of the top gear. We cannot attain this with the help of the top gear, because the top gear is nowhere near this resistive, that means the resistance or the total resistance offered by the gradient 3. So for this reason the minimum speed can be attained, let it be n. So the minimum speed attained over is not n, the minimum p, suppose it be p, it could be so what happened, the minimum speed be op. So this could be attained only by the second gear, it could not be attained by the top gear, it could be only attained by the second gear. Similarly for more stiffer curve, that is there is a more resistance force, so that can only be overcome by can be attained by the gear number 1, which has a more tractive effort and which cannot be which cannot be take place by the help of the gear 3 top gear or second gear only. So gear 1 is required to overcome that speed. So from here we could understand that when the tractive force requirement is much more, we will go for a we should go for a lower speed gear, we should go for a lower gear, and when it had attained a higher speed, we can easily move to a higher gear, we could easily move to top gears.